Okay, good morning everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up the extremes and in-betweens in your Photoshop file. So make sure you have it open and let's get started. Now, what are extremes and in-betweens? In Richard Williams' book, The Animator's Survival Kit, he said that the main drawings or extreme positions came to be called extremes, and the drawings in between the extremes were called in-betweens. So in this file, again, I'm going to show you how I use extremes and in-betweens to make an action for the ball a bit more clear. So right now we have the ball starting off up here. I want him to jump, then he lands. Here, let me just play it. So I got this, but you don't really see the ball jumping at all. So let's add some frames in between it and the extremes. So for me, the extremes are the highest points for the ball. So let's get at it. Oh, and I redrew everything because I wanted it to look a little bit nicer for you guys. So I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to drag it over, and then I'm going to cut it into two. So you can actually select this and then cut it right here, then drag it down to make sure it's on the same layer. I'm going to go over here to one. I'm going to cut it and delete it. I'm going to rename this one Extremes. I'll rename this layer EX01 for Extreme 1, EX02, and I'm going to color these orange. Now, first up, I'm going to shrink these down and then rearrange them. So right now I have the ball up here, and then at some point I want the ball to be up here. So I'm going to show you another method of selection for those who are not that great at coloring, but you need that basic shape. I want to go to this selection tool up here, the elliptical marquee tool. So I can just make a selection, move it around. I'm going to click on G for my paint bucket to color it in. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move over here, make sure this is selected. I'm going to use my L for lasso to move my selection over. G to paint bucket, fill. So let's see how that looks now. I'm going to play it. Okay, I want to turn off my onion skin. I went to this sandwich button to turn off, enable and disable onion skin down there. Then let's play it. Okay, so right now I'm facing the issue of, well, I have two balls on the screen. Well, that's when we can go back to our keyframes. We had them spaced out so you can see the whole timing, but now you don't want this keyframe to be with this extreme. So I'm going to pull it back, pull this one back, pull this one back, and then rearrange it. I'll just rearrange it until I get the timing that I want. Let's try this out. Okay, it's not bad. Let's add the in-between frames. So I'm going to turn back on my onion skin. And what's in between, my keyframe and my extreme frame? So right about here. Okay, so I'm going to make a new layer. Pull it up above extremes, drag it over, and I want to make this one split into, I want to cut it up a lot. Okay, I think that's enough for now. And I'm going to name this one, if it lets me click on it. Oh my gosh. In-betweens. I'm going to call this NB01, NB02. 02, NB 03, NB 04, and I'm just going to do a couple more numbers. Might not need all of them. And just like before, I can spread these out and see what I want. So the first one, I'm going to spread these out. I want in between my keyframe and this extreme right here. I'll just move these around some more. Great. Okay, I'm going to go back to this one, and I want to add a frame here. Add a little selection. I'm going to color it in. And I'm using my onion skinning to help me view. Now, I put two in-betweens in between my extreme and my key right here. So I'm going to make it fall through kind of fast. So this one, I have 2 frames to work with, so I'm going to put a ball here and here, kind of evenly spaced out. This is pretty much up to you. I'm just like thinking about timing. And as the ball is moving down, you might actually want to stretch it out because gravity's working on it. It's stretching out. Move one more down. And I'll show you how to do that. So if you just draw your drawing normal, I'll show you a quick tool to use to stretch it out. So now I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to move it here. Whoops. Did not mean to do that. There we go. Move it up here, color it in. This is just a basic ball. Again, you guys can go as more complex as you want to do. And then I'm going to have this ball right here. I want to switch this in my keyframe. I'm going to move that there. Okay, and you'll see why. So let's see what I got. Okay, not bad. Let me turn off that onion skin so I can see it a little more clear. So this is great. But because this is the squash and stretch assignment, we need to add some squash and stretch. So yeah, let's do that. So to really show that my ball is going to be jumping up, I probably want to add another frame as well. So let's see if I can remove anything. Let me turn back on my onion skin. Okay. That's a problem for another day. I will start showing you guys how to stretch it out. This is just a demo. I'm not trying to be perfect. Now, I have my in-between selected here, but if the ball is going up, I want to try to stretch it out. So with your layer selected, oh, I also want to color this. I want to color my in-betweens. I want to make it green so it's easier to see. Okay, now with my layer selected, I'm going to do Command T. That is also Edit Free Transform. This will allow you to rotate and scale out. Now, I don't want it to scale both sides, so I'm going to go to this little button right here, unlock it. So now I can make the sides go in. Because if something is stretching, to make the volume consistent, it shrinks in the middle. So to make it look more like the ball, when I stretch it out, it goes in. So it's like pulling a rubber band. If you have a rubber band just normal, and then you stretch it out, it gets skinnier. So I'm just going to do that, and I want to play around with it. So again, I used Command T, Command T. It's also Edit, and right here, see Command T. I'm going to just mess around with the settings. Again, I'm not being perfect because this is just for demo sake. I want you guys to experiment and have fun. I might even squash my ball down here. Command T. Command T, rotate it, scale it out. Again, you only have 12 drawings to work with, so keep that in mind as you do this. Because that is all you are going to get. Maybe slight scale. And then I want this one, oops, to squash a little. Command 0, so I can see the whole thing. Command minus, so I can zoom out a little. I'm going to turn off my onion skin. This is not going to be perfect, but it's a good example. Yeah! So now adding those extremes and in-betweens helps me break down my animation into more digestible bites, especially with having those, if I turn off my in-betweens, my extremes here. Let me turn back on my onion skin. Now it gives me a better idea of, okay, well, got my keyframes here, here, and here. Well, now my extreme positions, so, which is also kind of in between those. And it helps me visualize better on how I can space things out. So hopefully you got that from this little lesson, and yeah. I'm gonna play that. Yeah. Only other thing to be aware is that space in between the ground. So I'm gonna go back, and this is, I guess, you could do more during the polish phase, I guess technically. But yeah. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling. I will show you how to save it and save as a GIF. So File, let's do Save As first. I'm going to save this as, the last one was keys. Let's call this one, let's do INB for in-betweens. And then underscore your name. So I'm going to do teacher again. Save as Photoshop file. And then go to File, Export, Save for Web Legacy. And then if you don't have a background, you can make a matte background over here. I'm going to save it as a GIF and save. Desktop is fine. Let's check it out. So I got my GIF over here. Oops, wrong one. That was the last assignment. There we go. Look at that. And having this basic shape really helps because you can build upon that. I know I've shown some slides in class, so keep that in mind. Start simple and then build upon it. And yeah, that's all I got. If you guys have any questions, let me know.